This is Paula from Plantland, and we're talking about seedlings again today. So I'm going to talk about fertilizing your seedlings. The first thing to remember is that a seed is a pretty self-contained unit. When that seed is produced by the plant in the previous season, it actually contains all of the nutrient, all of the food that it needs not only to germinate, but that it needs to set up its first sets of leaves. So it's going to send up usually a set of 2 leaves for almost all plants, this is true, and then it sets up a second set, which we call its true leaves, which are typically something in more of a 4-leaf formation. So the plant up until that point has got all the nutrient it needs to do really well and germinate and get to that point. After that point, we have to start fertilizing. But we don't want to overdo it on fertilizing. These are tender little plants. And lots of fertilizers, even organic fertilizers like this one, if it's put on at too high a concentration, can actually burn a plant, by which we mean damage it. So usually what we do is we use spray bottles on seedlings. We take a spray bottle like this that holds a quart of water. We take the dilution rates that are on either this organic product or an all-purpose fertilizer like Jack's, and we take that dilution rate and we do a little bit of math and we figure out what it would be for a quart. Typically this kind of stuff is something along the lines of a teaspoon to a quart, or a teaspoon to a gallon, I'm sorry. A teaspoon to a gallon. So if we do a little bit of math there and say there are 4 quarts in a gallon, we can say that it's a 1/4 teaspoon that you'd put in here. So it's going to barely turn the water in here blue, and that's plenty of fertilizer for the first few weeks, if not month, of those little seedlings' life. And then gradually you're going to increase that concentration on all of these fertilizers and use just a spray bottle to water up until the plants get big enough that they're sturdy enough that you can water them more with something like a watering can. And you do have to keep soil moist. The most important thing about little seedlings is that they're never allowed to dry out. If they go through a period when they're getting, the soil's completely drying out, and then you water and it's completely wet, and then you allow it to completely dry out and it's completely wet, that's too uneven for seedlings. It can actually affect fruit development much later in the plant. Things like cucumbers and stuff don't like that early stage dry, wet, dry, wet, dry, wet. So you want to keep your seedlings evenly moist all the time. And this is the easiest way to do it. We have lots of fertilizers at Plantland. We have spray bottles. We have lots of information about how to apply them on our website, plant-land.com. If you look under seed starting there, you'll find lots of handouts that we've written over the years that'll tell you all about these things in much greater detail. This is Paula from Plantland. Happy gardening!